People are struggling right now, and it doesn't look like it's getting any better anytime soon. Let's talk about it.
Are we all fighting for our lives financially right now, or is it just me? I have a good degree. I work 3 jobs. I budget the hell out of my money to an annoying, obsession. Like, I'm watching every single penny I'm spending because I'm trying to pay off all of my student loans. But, times are tough right now. Like, man, I feel like the more you work, the more you have to pay for. And it's tough out there right now. Like, I think I do well, and then I look at my bank account and I'm like, oh my God. Or I go to the grocery store and I'm like, oh wow, eggs are $10 again. Woohoo. Like, man, it is tough right now. And sometimes I feel like I'm the only one, because sometimes I'll look and I'll be like, oh my God, all these people I know are like traveling and buying nice things, and I'm like, wow, how? Is there a secret? Someone help.
I think this is one of the rare times in our economy, in our history, where people can manage their money correctly. They can budget properly. They can work towards earning more income and still struggle to get by. That is how serious of a problem we're facing right now as a society and as a country. Things are too expensive, and wages have not kept up with the rapid rise of inflation that we've seen over the short past couple years. And this is what happens. People like this gal right here, who sounds like she's managing her money correctly, she's budgeting, she has 3 jobs, she mentioned, and she's trying to work towards paying off her student loans. Yet she's buying eggs that are $10 because everything in the grocery store is just way too damn expensive, along with everything else we're paying for right now. Something has got to change. Wages have to rise, or prices have to come back down to a more regular level, to where they were just a few short years ago, before we pumped trillions of dollars into our economy to stimulate the economy back when COVID hit and we thought the whole world was going to end. Also, she mentioned something about seeing people who are still traveling and doing things. Let's be honest here, guys. Most of those people are able to do that because of credit cards. Now, don't get me wrong, there are people who are doing very well right now, and it's because luckily they were planning ahead, and maybe not even planning ahead. They basically just were handling their finances correctly, made the correct investments over the past 5 to 10 years, and now they're doing okay. They're sitting just fine. And that's something I bring up a lot here on the channel. The people who are just getting started, who are starting their lives right now, they were dealt a rough hand. I mean, that's the best way you can say it. What you are given right now, if you're a young kid coming out of high school or college, it's tough. Now, with that being said, that doesn't mean that it can't happen. That doesn't mean you can't get ahead. I'm not saying that, because I know young kids right now that are straight killing it. But I think we can all agree when we can say everything's just getting a bit too damn expensive, and I feel like on some of these ends, companies are taking advantage of saying, inflation, gotta raise our price. Inflation, gotta raise our price. And no one's really doing anything about it, meaning you still go spend the money, you still go buy things. But what I think we're starting to see right now is more people are having to pull back. And with that, as people start pulling back on their spending because they simply can't afford to live anymore, prices are going to have to come back down to a more normal area. Now, will we see a massive recession, or will we see a massive financial disruption over the next couple years? Who knows? I can't tell the future. I wouldn't be shocked. Wouldn't be shocked one bit.
How are y'all making it? No, literally, how are y'all making it? Because, little backstory, I decided back in January that I was going to monetize on this app. Every dollar I made, no matter how big, how small, was going to go to a savings account, and that was going to be money for a down payment on our house. Because if you don't know, me, my husband, and our 2 kids are living with my parents. Spoiler alert, that's not happening. We're having to take that money I'm making and use it to get by until the next week, on top of my husband's income. My husband's making the most money he's ever made, and this is the brokest we've ever been. Make it make sense. I'm not a bougie bitch. I might get my lashes done, but my friends do my hair. I don't get my nails done. Like, I'm really not that high maintenance. We try to live within our means. We truly do. It's like, no matter how much you don't go out to eat, no matter how much you don't spend money, you're still gonna be broke. Why? Because that is the world that we live in. So I know I'm not as educated as I should be when it comes to voting. All I know is that shit was a lot better 4 years ago. I could afford to breathe and I had my own house. Right now, nobody can afford housing. Nobody can afford food. And if you can, congratulations, because you're far and few. So please, please, for the love of God, take that into consideration come November and make a change, because I am tired. I am tired of living like this.
This is a big year, folks. I mean, this is an election year. This is a time where a lot of bigger investors are kind of sitting back and waiting to see what happens. Now, no matter what side of the fence you're on, or what side of the aisle you're on, whatever you want to call it, Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, down the middle, I mean, I think across the entire political agenda, there is a lot of, how do I say this, corruption. There is a lot of, look at Congress, right? The amount of money that our government wastes on a yearly basis is astronomical. The amount of mismanagement of money that goes on in our government blows my mind. And I feel like on both sides, if one side doesn't get their way, like for example, let's say on the right side, right? If the conservative right-winged doesn't get their way, Trump doesn't get a win, most people are going to come out and say that, the election was rigged, something's going on, there's corruption in the government, Trump was never going to be allowed to win anyways. Then you have the left side, to where if Kamala doesn't win, then we're going to hear that the country is going to go to absolute shit. Trump is now a dictator. I mean, you hear the extremes from both sides, and I just wish me as a Midwestern boy looking at the future of our country, honestly, what I would love to see is I would love to see unity of the country come back together. I hate how divided we are as a country. I also want to see our country be able to manage money better. I would like to see our government shrink massively in size. I think our government has grown to be way too big for its britches here in this country. And I also wouldn't be shocked to see something catastrophic happen to the American dollar. I mean, how much longer can we just continue to print money and keep sweeping things under the rug, kicking the stick farther down the road until an absolute bomb goes off? I mean, that really could happen. Homes prices are still sitting at sky high, but in this market where I'm watching, and also the Florida market where I still keep an eye on, prices, homes are sitting, I know homes that have been sitting on the market since before I left Florida, which has been over 100 days. We're seeing homes sit on the market for 100 days. Homes are just not selling right now at the prices that the sellers are still wanting to get. There's so much going on right now that I think a lot of people really don't understand yet, or maybe they're just not seeing it because they're not looking at it all the time. But I feel it. I do. I really do feel it. I feel like something is coming. The feds are talking about a potential rate cut. When that happens, that means the country may be on the potential verge of a recession. I know some of you think we're already in a recession. I don't think we're there yet. Some wild times we're living in right now, people.
This is not to be pessimistic. I'm just a realist. But do not feel bad for doing what you have to do in this economy. I've been seeing people post about how they had to give up their new car, or how they had to go back to a 9-to-5 after doing entrepreneurship, move back in with their parents. And I know that it sucks. I just wanted to stress to you that it's not your fault. It's really the economy. As a millennial who lived through pre-pandemic and then now, it was totally different. Yes, I was able to pay off my car, but my car note was $300 a month. It was only $16,000 for a brand new car at that time. You can't find a brand new car for that price anywhere. Another thing too, when I was paying rent, it was $800 back in 2017, 2018. And that was for a 3-bedroom. That same apartment right now is $1,400 a month for a 1-bedroom. House prices, I could literally write an essay. I could write a book. The interest rates, of course, were way lower, but the house prices were not crazy. I bought my house for $165,000. The houses in my neighborhood right now are going for almost $300K, which is crazy. I say all that to say you can't take accountability for things that are just simply not your fault. Jobs are not paying that much. The economy is going up. Eggs are $31. So when it comes to doing what you have to do to survive in this economy, do not feel bad. It's just a sacrifice.
She nailed it. Guys, she nailed it. If there's one thing you need to not worry about, especially in the tough times we're living in, is what the hell other people think. Right now, there's going to be some major life decisions happening for people across the country. When you can't afford to live, when you can't afford to live the lifestyle you lived 5, 6 years ago, major life changes have to happen. You either have to pick up another job, you have to move to a more affordable area, you may have to move back in with your parents temporarily because you literally cannot make it financially. If there's one thing that I want to say, I want to agree with this girl 100% and say, who gives a shit what anyone thinks about you and the decisions you make to get through for your life? Sometimes, desperate times calls for desperate measures. And if you're struggling right now financially and you're on the verge of bankruptcy, or you're on the verge of not being able to pay your bills, or maybe you're already there. Maybe you're already there and you can't pay your bills. Maybe it's time to sell that car that's eating you alive every single month. Or maybe you tried the entrepreneur route and it's time to go back and get a 9 to 5. There's no shame in that. Like, the fact that people would even be like, oh, couldn't make it. No, I mean, at least you tried. At least you tried to do it. And there's maybe another better time coming ahead in the near future where it is time and the right time for you to do that. There it is the time to take that big risk. But right now, maybe it's not it. Maybe right now is time for survival. Stock cash away if you can. Change your lifestyle drastically to get by, because I don't see things improving anytime soon. What's going to be very, very crucial, and what I'm going to be watching, and I probably will be making content on, to be honest, is this upcoming election. I'm very curious what happens in our economy depending which way the election goes. If Trump wins or if Kamala wins. You let me, I want to hear your all's thoughts. What do you think happens if Trump wins? What do you think happens if Kamala wins? Let me know right now down in the comment section. Very interested.
Things I've given up because of the cost of living. I've seen a few videos on TikTok now talking about things people have given up because of the rising cost of living. And I just kind of wanted to speak to that a little bit. There's a ton of things I could list when it comes to the list of things I've given up because of the rising cost of living. But honestly, the thing that matters to me the most, it's not even any of the material things like eating out or being able to get someone else to cut my hair or being able to get new glasses because I have a big old scratch across one of the lenses that I can't afford to get replaced. The biggest thing for me is just the constant feeling and pressure of stressing about finances and how to make ends meet. So that's why I started this account, to try and find ways to make extra money and share it with you.
Oh, I hate that. And I hate that most people are feeling that right now. Like, most people are waking up, going to their job that they probably don't want to be at, and they're still not making enough money to get by to live their life. That is horrible when you think about that. But that's the normality we're living in right now. Like, that's what's going on in our society. I mean, prices have legit gotten that high across the board for everything you go and do. My wife and my family has had to make major sacrifices because of the change of costs that have occurred in our life. We have to shop a little differently. We're not traveling probably as much as we would like to right now because, one, we're trying to put a lot of money away with the unknowns of what's coming on this economy. Because let's be honest, guys, if something major catastrophic happens in this economy and we see a massive recession or maybe the next Great Depression like I talked about in a previous video, I mean, as a content creator, my income's going to dry up. My income will be one of the first ones to dry up. I mean, I'm just being straight honest with you guys. That's why, one, I have planned ahead from the very beginning. When I've been making my money as a content creator, I've been putting that money aside. I've put that money in investments. I've put that money in savings. Now, we've spent a little bit of it, having a little bit of fun, but majority of it I've wanted to keep in case something does happen in the economy and I at least have a little bit of time to figure out what I may want to do next. Start another business. I can go back into construction if I want to. Those are things that I think about. I do. I really do think about. I'm not going to sit here and try to be like, oh, I'm never going to need another job in my life. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen to this economy. And if times get tough and, advertisers stop paying, ad revenue drops by 70, 80% on YouTube, then I may want to look into doing something different. I don't know. If you guys don't see me upload one day, I did something different. Basically, it's what it is. And that could happen. That's what I think a lot of content creators don't think about either. They have this big paycheck coming in all the time. I could go away tomorrow. That's why I'm a big believer in planning ahead, way ahead. Have enough cash in reserves. Make sure you're investing a lot of that money, even though it may go down in value temporarily. Generally, looking at the history of the market and the history of the economy, as prices decline at a rapid rate, over the long term, they come back up and even at a higher amount that they were before. So if you can get through these tough times, there's always a brighter end. There's always an opening at the end of the tunnel. There's a light at the end of the tunnel is what I'm trying to say there. So times will get better, but no, it may get worse before we get to the better part.
Y'all know what's the main two things that will humble you in a heartbeat? Being broke and not having a job and not having your car. Let's talk about being broke and not having a job first. Y'all ever went through that unemployment phase where you just got fired or you just quit your job and you got to fill out 30 job applications and you're not getting a single response? Yeah, that little feeling of freedom after you quit your job is cool and all until you spend them last few dollars from that last paycheck you got. It ain't shit to smile about after that. After your bank account becomes lower and lower and lower, and you just know you fucked. You just know you're finna be down bad on your ass. It ain't shit to smile about no more. It ain't shit to be happy about no more, bro. That shit will put fear into a nigga heart. No bullshit. And not having a car or not having your car available. Anybody that had a problem with their car and you had to get an Uber to go to and from back home to work from work, y'all know where I'm coming from with this. I do not know how fucked up it is for you to have to spend $100 to $200 taking an Uber to go to work and coming back home throughout the whole week of you working. Bro, that shit is something else, bro. It's like you just went through that whole week of working and you lost all that money, bro. It's just gone like that in a heartbeat, bro. That shit is something else. I'm telling y'all, that shit is something else. Them are the main two things that will humble the fuck out you in life, bro. No bullshit.
Homeboy ain't lying. He's not lying one bit. As a man who was let go from a company when my wife was pregnant with my daughter and the holidays were right around the corner, it is a very humbling feeling. And I'm actually glad to say that happened, because I already had a fire lit under my ass way back when I first started working out of college. I always wanted to be successful. I always wanted to get ahead with money. It was always a big passion of mine. But I have a video talking about when I did get let go, and I didn't get fired because I did anything wrong. What happened was the company was going through some financial struggles. The video of me talking about it, I'll try to link a picture up here. You guys can find it on the channel if you want to watch it. But I basically talked about how planning ahead let me handle that being let go a little better, because I had cash in savings, because I had another stream of income, because I had reputable skills that I could send out to the job market in hopes of finding an equivalent job. But I'm also, although yes, you do get humbled when that happens to you in life, especially as a man, because you're the breadwinner, you're taking care of your family, like that's what it's supposed to be like. But then when that happens to you, you kind of get knocked on your ass, you're like, holy cow. But what matters is how you handle that after it's happened to you. You can choose the route of drink yourself to sleep every night, be depressed, say, oh, woe is me, the economy sucks, everything's expensive, I can't get out of this, I'm never going to get ahead. Or you can say, no, screw that shit, like, let that light a fire under your ass even more and be able to get yourself ahead that much more as well. So if you guys are watching this right now and you're in that predicament, you're where that guy was talking about. Maybe you just got let go from a job, or you can't afford to purchase a car right now. Let that be your down point. Let that be your point in life where you're like, what I've been doing in my life for the past 10 years, 5 years, that's led me to where I'm at now. obviously isn't working, so I need to make some sort of change. I need to make some difference in my life. And if that means going out and getting a few extra jobs, or if that means trying to up your pay a little bit, or maybe it means to learn a new skill online with YouTube, or there's thousands of videos that you can research. There's thousands of books that you can read to literally teach yourself a new skill. Or if that means go out and get a better paying job that may be a little worse hours that you're working right now, or the workload may be a little bit, pretty shitty. For example, one thing I can look at that I always said, if I ever needed to go back to get a job, and I needed something right away, I know I could go get a job as like a laborer or doing something in construction because that's my background. I was a project manager for 3 years for multiple different construction companies. I know that industry and I know how it works. I have those skills still, so I feel like I could get in somehow, whether it be in the field or office work for the construction industry if I really needed to. But the problem is if the economy dries up, no one's going to be hiring in construction. So you need to think, okay, well, if I can't do that, what else am I going to go find and do? And when that time comes, which we're not there yet, they're still hiring in construction, the trades are still hiring. So luckily, we're not in that predicament. And the point I'm making with that is that's why you want to change your life now before that time does come. You want to make sure you take whatever job you want. Find something even though it may be shit for a while. Sometimes you got to eat shit to get by. I hate saying it, but it's the truth. Like sometimes, I know a buddy of mine, I don't know if he'll watch this or not, but a good friend of mine, he's a very, very successful real estate investor now. He started his first business and he slept in a box truck. He was hauling mattresses back and forth between companies and customers, and he didn't have a place to stay at the time, so he literally slept in the box truck. That is eating shit. Now he's a multimillionaire investing in real estate because he took chances, he was very frugal with his money, he made the right money decisions, and he was able to work his ass off for basically nothing getting started and slowly just started rising up. But it also all comes with spending your money correctly, guys. So many people right now that are struggling or broke are still using their credit cards to go out to eat or to buy a fancy steak dinner, or maybe they're just going out to Taco Bell 5 times a week. That's the shit we can't spend our money on. That's what we can't be dropping dollars left and right on. Or maybe you're buying drinks every weekend still, and you think you can afford it, but deep down you really can't. Now, I'll get off this rant now, but it's so true, guys. It is. It all comes into, first, not caring what anybody thinks. You make the decisions in your life that is going to better your lifestyle in the long run. If that means eating shit for a little bit, you do it. You enjoy it. Throw some A1 on that sucker if you need to. But understand it's going to take some major sacrifices getting ahead. And I feel like if a major catastrophic event is coming, a lot of people are going to fall on their face. And I don't want to see that. That's why I hope when you guys watch these videos, I hope they're entertaining. But I can share some knowledge with you guys financially that can set you up to where you're going to be looking better financially a year or 2 years from now than you are right now. Stop living paycheck to paycheck. Get on a budget. Save some cash if you can. And start paying off your debt. So that way future you has your finances in order. You're doing fine. And you're making strides financially. Meaning your net worth is continuously going up. Because of decisions you're making. No one's coming to save you guys. No one. Understand that. When you take the responsibility in your hands and you start living the correct way financially, trust me. Trust me when I say this. I've experienced it. Life gets so much more enjoyable when you have your finances in order. It sucks to start the journey, but enjoy it while you're going through it. And know that it's much better than where you're at now. That end result. That's all I got, guys. Thanks for joining me on another video. And until the next one, you all take care. Cheers.